Hello everyone, welcome to General Lando 327 plays Final Fantasy XIII, Episode 4. So we are in Chapter 3. We are not super far into Chapter 3 yet. Basically, we have gotten to the point where we touched down on a now crystallized Lake Brescia after we were branded as Pulseless Sea. And now we're kind of spending the chapter trying to figure out what that means and what we do about it and what our fate is going to be. Does it say that there are enemies here? Oh, that's why it says that there are enemies here. Let's see. It's been probably about half a week since I've recorded this series, so I'm a little bit trying to catch up with where exactly I was. I'm also playing through the game to get just raw footage for any ranking videos or anything like that I want to do. So I'm kind of it might take me a couple minutes to get back to exactly where we are right now. I know we are before the first boss of this area. Probably could just run with a potion. I'm not happy with it, but that's fine.
Just stay out of my way.
Alright. Forward we go. Wait. This is backward. Okay, well, sure, let's fight some more. Yeah, I'm going the wrong direction, that's why. Really? Why is everybody targeting Snow? He's really a nice guy once you get to know him. At this point, when there's only one left, I honestly don't care if Vanille dies. Snow and Lightning are more than capable of taking it out. It's one of the beauties that I like about this system, where they heal you automatically at the end of battle. I know I've discussed previously the fact that allows them to make the battles more urgent and expect that you're gonna be going all out basically every fight. But the fact that they heal you after battle also means that from a perspective of just trying to get through the battle as efficiently as possible, sometimes, as long as it's not the leader.
All the messed up ways to meet.
Okay, hang on, I'm gonna let this scene play out.
I'm Snow Villiers. Short stuff?
Hope Estime.
What about her?
Odom Security Regiment. She goes by Lightning. Last name's Farron. First, anybody's guess.
O'Neill.
It's Claire, by the way.
Good to meet you.
Lightning's real name.
It's not right. Our kids have to get dragged into this.
I'll keep the kids out of trouble.
Problem with that is,
You're
you're one of them.
Hey,
Trying to take on the post Foul C. That was our first mistake. We should have left it to the Sanctum. Why not? I mean, we've counted on the Sanctum's Foul C for food, water, everything we've needed since the time we were born.
but you still helped us do it. Why's that? Gotta be something.
There might have been. Not so sure anymore.
Okay, so I was talking about the efficiency of battle and the way
Used to be
that
an
the
army
system
outpost
allows you
around here
to
somewhere.
let people
Guess
die
they got
without
it.
any
Now, anyway.
major consequence. So as long as your party leader doesn't die, and you're nearing the end of battle and you know you've got what it takes to finish the battle, there are times when it's more efficient to just let it go all out and not worry about. Well, I'm not using aggression here. And not worry about the fact that somebody's about to die. The only downside to that whole thing is that if your party leader dies, regardless of the state of the rest of your party, it's game over. Which was one of the major arguments against this game, and one that I honestly can't refute. That's probably one of the most annoying things about this game, especially when coupled with the fact that the AI for your party members when they're in the medic role is not that great. They actually fixed that a little bit in the next game. Oops, hang on, I think there's something up here I want. Isn't there? Yeah. They fixed that in a lot in I was going to say Kingdom Hearts 2, because that's what
Should we
I've
look for
been
another
filming
way out?
episodes of Kingdom Hearts. Final Fantasy XIII too. They fixed the medic and actually the general AI of your characters a lot in the sequel to this game. But in this game, the medic especially role is not very well programmed when it comes to healing the right party members at the right time, which can make an already challenging battle go from just teetering on the edge of maybe being a problem to critical in a real hurry.
Is that wreckage from the vestige?
I want to make sure I don't miss anything here for us. Yeah, we're good. Okay, we want to go this way. Okay, so. Okay, well, I didn't expect it to go that quickly. Or I wouldn't have bothered to switch paradigms. But combine the poor AI for your party members, medics, with the fact that if your leader dies at any point, it's game over. And that is one of the frustrating things about this game that I don't really have any argument against, because it frustrates me quite regularly. Not so much anymore, but when I was first playing through the game, it's annoying. And actually, there's no better battle to indicate how annoying it can be than the one that's just about to come up here. Let me just run through the Crystarium real quick. Let's see, I think that's the next ability that I want, but let me just double check. Oh no, I was going to get water first. Water. Then we can skip Life Siphon for a second. I wanted to get Power Chain, but oh well. It's not really going to matter for this battle. You have absolutely no abilities to get in this section, so let's just finish this. If you're not familiar with this game, you're probably wondering why it is that Snow finished off his tree so quickly, especially compared with the other ones. That will become readily apparent very soon. I think there's more magic and health boosts in this roll, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So into this. So at this point, basically for the rest of the game, neither Vanille nor Hope are gonna need strength for really anything. Your magic casters, Ravagers do get this Flame Strike ability that I just picked up for Saz. Is the Ravagers' physical attacks? They're all elemental, but it's a an elemental based attack that uses their strength stat rather than their magic stat to determine its damage. So those are the only physical attacks that your Ravagers that are normally the pure casters get, and they're basically there to take advantage of elemental weaknesses in characters that have a higher strength than average. So characters like Lightning and Snow would be more useful typically with the strike skills than they are with the straight up spells. But neither Vanille nor Hope get any of the elemental strike skills. They are strictly magic casters, even in the Ravager tree. So strength for them is virtually a useless stat. Until very, very late. Honestly, not even late in the storyline. Post-game, post-story, you could use them as commandos again, but there's really not much point in it. Especially by that point when you have Saz, Light, and Fang developed to the point where, if you wanted them to be damage dealers physically, they would still be far more powerful than Vanille or Hope would be. Alright, I need to equip the silver bangle on you. I don't have anything equipped on Snow. Okay, we're good. Alright, so I was just talking about the fact that this battle that's coming up here is a perfect indicator of why the system that if the party leader dies, it's all over is so annoying. We'll see that in just a second.
Sarah.
Sarah!
Oh, you know what I forgot to do? Well, that's going to be a pain, but it's workable. I was going to switch paradigms before I went into this, but...
Thanks.
This is a weird effect that
This is goodbye.
I think is only done once in this game. That little yellow light amber screen type thing.
If they find us, we're all dead. You think Sarah'd want that? You think you know how she feels?
If I leave her, then I'll never know. We'll be fine. I can handle anything they throw at us. No one will die. I'll protect Sarah. And Cocoon.
Does she look protected to you?
The number of times that Snow takes a punch from Lightning.
Possibly do.
That's 3 already.
Takes.
If you're forgetting the other one was back in the vestige. Pulse vestige.
Oh, me. You two are hopeless.
In that case, I feel badly for Saz having Snow like fall on top of him
Just
twice.
can't admit it. I'm gonna stay as much as he does.
Look who's back.
Whoa, whoa. No, no! No, 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 not now!
Hey, stand back. Hey.
Alright. Couple maintenance things here real quick. No, I don't want to watch the tutorial. I'm going to do this. I need it. So, that's his first nasty attack, which is why we wanted to have our medic up right away. Now, this is the one that's really nasty. So, basically, if you didn't equip the silver bangle on Lightning before this fight, you're pretty much gonna take enough damage to kill her unless it happens to fall just right. Especially if you're used to the battles leading up to this where everything is so simple going into it. You know, you kind of build up the damage before you really have to worry about healing. So, like, this was the first boss that I had a party wipe on. And I have a feeling it's probably true for a lot of people because of that wave cannon followed by crystal rain attack, because it can knock lightning out without any kind of gear equipped to her very fast.
Just stay out of my way.
And like I say, the other party members could be fine, but she goes down and it's game over. So the I don't know why I'm not using aggression. And this a lot faster. It's fine. At this point, it's over. And the way that the cutscene places the characters, they always start in the same positions on the screen. So unlike random battles, where your character's starting locations can kind of be switched around depending on which form of the battle you get. It's a preset battle, so Crystal Rain is gonna hit lightning hard twice because of the way that the
Want to help Sarah too?
because of the way that the area of effect is, which can be a real pain.
But without tools, we could be digging for days.
Because Snow is not likely to go down from that attack, and Vanille is on the far end of the first strike, so she doesn't take as much damage
What
from
about your
it.
focus?
So both of your other characters can still be fine,
Banding together and
and lightning goes down and it's over.
Isn't that what you promised? Now you want to forget it all and die right here? Snow, you're nothing but talk.
Which, if you remember, is the same thing that Vanille says back on the bridge when she first meets Snow
Lightning.
in the first chapter. She says, first impression of
I'll do
Snow,
whatever it
all talk.
takes. I'll finish this focus and keep Sarah safe. That's my promise.
Great job so far.
Stay out of
One
trouble.
of the things I love about the characters in this game is I think Snow is the guy we all want to identify with. He's always optimistic. He's always,
Get going.
the one charging ahead. And yet, somewhere deep inside of us, we have some of the other characters' flaws. Whether it's Lightning's being way too cynical, or Hope's being insecure and afraid of everything. the other characters you
Save
haven't
it for
really
next
seen their
time,
flaws
kiddo.
yet, so I don't want to ruin anything.
Get left behind.
But all of these characters start out with
It's okay, Hope.
obvious flaws.
Light'll take care of you. We'll meet again.
I mean, you know, Snow's is blatantly obvious. He's brash. He doesn't think things through, and he just thinks everything's gonna work out. So it's really easy to identify with, if not just one character, with all of the characters
I'll get you out of
in
there.
various ways. I think that's just one of the brilliant things about this game. I mean, even that small interaction there between Hope and Snow, where Hope knows he's got something to say to Snow. And at this point, he's so conflicted as to, you know, knowing what he saw, that it wasn't really Hope's fault. I mean, granted, yes, you know, he's the one that got all these civilians to charge headlong into fighting, you know, with the army. But at the same time, like, it wasn't like a lot of people died there. And the fact that Snow lived and couldn't save his mother, it makes Hope a very conflicted character at this point, and he wants to confront Snow, but he doesn't really know how. And meanwhile, Snow is just thinking, you know, I gotta save my fiance, you know, and apparently I've gotta save Cocoon at the same time. And I made promises to do both, and, you know, and here's this kid that I'm also supposed to be protecting. And, you know, what do I do here? So he has to put on a brave face, as Snow always does. And you know, not knowing what's going on inside of, you know, Hope. He's just thinking Hope is just worried about Snow. Where really Hope is like, I don't know how to handle the fact that I might not see you again, and I have things to say. But I don't know what to say. I think that's one of the beauties of this game. I mean, I'm gonna probably harp about the character development the entire game, because I think that's one of the strongest points of this game. But one of the beautiful things is the fact that they're all so identifiable. Like you can very quickly side with one character or all of the characters. These are for the most part average people that got thrown into this situation by a series of events that you haven't seen all of them yet to tell what's going on. But oops, I wanted to go this way first. I was thinking it was the other way around. One section ahead of myself. Well, I haven't set my paradigms here either. Probably ought to do that. But, you know, these are real people. I mean, they're as close to real people as you're going to get in a video game. Another game that does this really well, I think, is Horizon Zero Dawn. And I know I've already brought that one up in this as well. But, oops, I actually want that to be Ranger. Let's swap those. There we go. Because that game does a great job of making the characters. I mean, even though it's in a world that's so dramatically different from ours, it's not inconceivable where they're coming from either. And the way that in that world, it's a lot of exploration of you know, scope of what it means to be in a world that's, you know, fierce and out to kill you, and to be thrust into that kind of environment from birth with basically no allies, no help, and try to, you know, make something of it. If you have a PS4 and you have not played Horizon Zero Dawn, I highly recommend that you pick it up. I imagine at some point that might be a game that I play on this channel. It's just, to me, that it's one of my top quality games. And I think everybody should get a chance to see it and experience it for what it is as well. But it has a lot of the same story-driven character development as this game does. But this game does it a lot more with little snippets of conversation between your party members. Whereas that game, you have one character you're playing as the entire game, and of course then it's just about.
Do not shake the slippery tube.
One of the side note, one of the videos I really hope to do with this is some of the offhand comments that your characters make throughout the game. And one of them I really want to do is why Saz is like the king of one-liners. You missed it there because I was talking, and I really was planning to. I thought you had to get it a little bit farther out on that little tube thing, the little connecting bridge that we just went across. But he says there, what he says is, "Do not shake the slippery tube." I repeat, do not shake the slippery tube. And I love the way that they just make him, you know, be the voice of real, like, what would you really be feeling in this situation? And he's like that the entire game. Like, sometimes what he says is, well, duh, but, you know, thank you, Captain Obvious type stuff. But at the same time, it's because in this game is so, like, deep and serious most of the time. You know, these guys are literally, I mean, at this point, they don't know what they're supposed to do. Like, now they're thinking, you know, we have to be enemies of the place that we came from, and either that or we turn into these hideous monsters. And, you know, what do we do? And that's just the springboard for, you know, for the rest of the game. And you know, so Saz is kind of the guy that brings it all back to reality. And, you know, no matter what's going on, he's got these little snide comments that you just stop and think, wow, this is what's really going on in their heads right now. Like, and if I were there, that's probably what I would be thinking too. I mean, I hate heights. Like, I can't do heights. If I absolutely have to, I can do it. But, like, look at this. We just walked across on this thing in a giant crystallized area. You look around you as much as it will allow, and you can actually see it better from the once I turn around and come back the other way. But if I turn it back around and come down, I probably have to do it from the top. Alright. So if I do this again, I mean, look at that. It's like a sheer drop-off. Like, more power to you. I could not do that. That would be the end of my journey right there. Let the soldiers capture me. I'm done. And, you know, and Saz is the guy that always has those types of lines, and it's just beautifully scripted. And that's, you know, that just goes back into what I was saying about the character development and the fact that they're so identifiably human. that, you know, and I think the rest of the series after this game loses a lot of that. There's a fair amount of that kind of complexity and development in 13.2, but at the same time, it's less about that and more about the journey. And I just, you know, it loses a lot of the intricacy of the way that this game was designed and how much they thought through of who these people really are.
Dead end, huh?
Hey! Lightning! Over here!
So if you know what you're going to be doing with this thing, you could have done it without having to walk all the way to the end here and get that scene. But for the sake of the scene, I walked all the way to the end so you could see it. You're welcome. I think when I played this through the first time, I just saw the little marker on the map saying that there was something to interact with here and didn't do that. So I actually didn't know that there was a scene there for the longest time. Not that it's much of a scene, but... Also, I find it interesting that she can just hop up there and smack the gun and it goes off. Like, what kind of military design vehicle with a turret gun like that would have it so that you can just smack it and it starts shooting things? Like, one obvious flaw in that design, I think. Yes, I really wanted to get a preemptive strike on these because this can be a very, very tough battle otherwise. With this way, I can hopefully get rid of most of the small guys very quickly. And apparently some of the big guys. Very nice. Otherwise, that battle can be very dangerous because they all like attack so quickly. It makes it very difficult to stay alive at the very beginning part of the battle. I mean, even now, I'm having trouble. And if they all team up on, like, lightning, it's over in, like, a split second. Again, it goes back to the fact that, you know, things can get very, very ugly very quickly with this system. And it's designed that way. It's supposed to be. Because it's supposed to be about, you know, resource management and making sure that you know how to respond to the right situations. I am picking up so many Deceptisols. Oh, I have less than I thought I did. Huh. I know I've seen at least 2 in this little bit of playthrough. Alright, let's toss some more CP around. At least now I should be able to get Power Chain. Then we can backtrack and get Life Siphon. I think that's all that's left are stat boosts for her. Yeah. So let's try to get this. Okay. We got all of your abilities, so we're just going to finish with the stat boosts on Medic. Or get close to finishing with the stat boosts on Medic. Yeah, that's what I thought. We still have one more skill to learn here. There we go. I can backtrack and start getting the rest of those. You have no skills. Finish Medic. Go up to Ravager. Alright. So I know we've actually fought one of these before. This one is actually worth doing the tutorial on, even if you're familiar with the game, for one reason. It gives you free, like, uninterrupted time to cast Libra on it, which basically lets you get all of its, it's like Scan in previous games, or like Libra. Well, no, I guess it's not like Libra in Final Fantasy XII, because that was just, it's like Scan in the old Final Fantasies, where it gives you their information, weaknesses, etc. Doesn't, as you can see, it doesn't give the complete profile. I think most of the time you have to actually cast it twice in order to guarantee that you get the rest of it. But it does take one of your TP technique points every time you cast it, so it's generally not worth it. Again, the majority of the chapters are designed so that you get everything you need within them, because you're not going to be able to come back to these areas. Alright, let me do one more round of this before I switch. But this is basically your first real introduction to the behemoth type in this game. I know we fought one before with Snow and crew back on the first chapter, but that one you had a full-time healer and didn't really. It was basically a gimme battle. This one is definitely not. This thing can be very dangerous if you let it live long enough without staggering it. But now that it's staggered, it's going to be over very quickly. If it finishes charging up to 100%, it goes into extermination mode and basically gets like much more powerful and basically could kill just about any of your characters in a single hit if you're unlucky. So yeah, you don't want that to happen. They actually, you think those things are bad now. They do a lot of damage in a hurry, but they get worse throughout the game. They will commonly cast high-level magic. They'll commonly cast high-level magics, and they will eventually, the majority of them will end up fully healing themselves at some point in the battle. Once they get to about half health, they'll stand up and fully heal themselves and become even stronger, and it just gets nasty. They're not the worst enemies in the game. Or I should say the worst, like, common enemies in the game. Obviously bosses tend to be a lot worse.
I hope everyone made it out okay.
So do I. But nowhere is safe.
There's a class of monster that we won't see for a very long time.
Just 'cause they
Chapter 11 is the first time that we will see them, although we won't fight them in that. We might fight one in that chapter.
People really hate Pulse, don't they?
For those of you who are familiar with Final Fantasy XIII, you know what I'm talking about. The Adamantoids type of monster.
All scared of Pulse boogeymen. They'd be shaking in their beds every night if they knew that Lassie like us were around.
But they purged that entire town.
It's crazy, I know. But the Sanctum Fal'Cie did nothing to stop it. Up until now, Eden's always stepped in to correct their errors in judgment. Guess humans aren't worth the effort. Figure they'll let us just kill each other off.
The sea are not human.
Listen, you, that's enough. We're still alive. That's something.
What?
Where is it?
I don't know.
There! off the area. They're trying to trap the stragglers. We gotta get moving before we're caught in the net.
So that cutscene is enough to start begging the question: why is it that it seems everybody knows all about Pulse Fal'Cie and Pulse L'Cie and all about, you know, what people think of them, except for Vanille? I mean, earlier on, Hope was telling Vanille all of this stuff about them, back when it was just the two of them, and both Lightning and Saz have had multiple conversations about, you know, aspects of what they are and what they do, and or at least what, you know, people believe. But Vanille always seems to be the one questioning. You know, is this what, you know, why are people reacting this way? Why, you know, why do they believe that they're monsters? You know, can't they just be regular people that, you know, whatever? And that's, you know, you're getting to the point now where you have to start questioning in your mind, why is Vanille so oblivious to the way that Pulse Fal'Cie and Pulse L'Cie are viewed? That's all I'm going to say about that. These guys are very nasty too. They're not so bad here, but later on in the game, especially Chapter 9, these things get ridiculously nasty. And it's because of the abilities that they're doing right now. Electro Kick, they each have different elements, but these ones are specifically electricity. When you get these things in groups, they all do their special attack like simultaneously, because it's just like a scripted time thing. In the battle lasts a certain amount of time, they do that attack. And generally, they and in large groups, you're gonna only be able to take down like one or two of them before they get that attack off. And if they gang up on one person by chance, that person is going down in a hurry under those attacks. Chapter 9, when we face some of those later as regular enemies, or the Chapter 9 equivalent of those, is one of the few times in the storyline that I use the Sentinel roll. Because the damage reduction is absolutely crucial. I think I've mentioned this already in one of the previous videos, but it could be in one that I had to re-record. So, in case I haven't mentioned it, I do not try to 5-star battles at any point in this game. It's not worth the effort. You don't get anything for it, other than the satisfaction of seeing those 5 stars. You literally get nothing. You might have a little bit higher item drop, but I'm not even sure that's the case in 13. I know it is in 13 too, but even then it's not like substantially different. In fact, the one thing that it does do is make it less likely for you to get the shrouds. Fortisol, Aegisol, Deceptisols. Not that I care too much about those. These enemies, these Velicycles, are also a very nasty enemy. What these watch drones and drone type enemies can do, these things can basically, what those drones can do in bulk, these things can basically do by themselves. They're very difficult to stagger. Typically, this version isn't too bad, but they almost all have like that beam gun. Excuse me, I'm sorry. That beam gun attack or equivalent that will flatten a party member. In a couple of chapters here, we're going to be fighting some of these with a 2-member party, and in that case, it's one of the few places in the storyline that I actually use the synergist role to buff up my party members. But I'm actually against these things. You really don't have time to use that tactic. My biggest problem with the synergist role is that in trading card games like Magic, you would call it a card advantage. Basically, what it is you have to spend a resource in order to get some effect, and the more resources you have to spend to set up for something that's actually productively accomplishing the goal of eliminating the enemy, decreases your quote-unquote card advantage. It's called card advantage in a card game because it means you have to spend more cards to do what one card could have done. So the reason I don't particularly like the synergist role, although it does have its uses, same thing with the Sentinel, is that it's not directly accomplishing a goal of eliminating the enemies that you're fighting, which means that it's not very efficient. And in a lot of these battles, efficiency is key, especially against those flying cycle things. Efficiency is absolutely critical against those.
Whoa! This whole place is crystal.
Which means that setting up with a synergist in a weak party will almost always lead to your death, regardless of the fact that you put on like defensive buffs.
You gonna complete your focus?
Maybe. If I knew what it was. I probably don't want to know.
Hey, Lightning. Did Sarah say anything to you about her focus?
Nothing.
You know what? She probably didn't want to worry you.
Or she just didn't think she could trust me.
Oh.
Okay. I do use a lot of references to Magic, the card game, because I know it's a fairly popular. It's got a broad player base, and a lot of people that play games like Magic are also typically people that enjoy video games like this. See, just like that, Saz was basically full health, and 2 of those electro kicks took him out. And in Chapter 9, we're going to be fighting like much nastier versions of this in much larger quantities. So that's a perfect example of that. Anyway, I was talking about why I use Magic analogies a lot. For those of you who aren't familiar with Magic, they're not going to mean much to you, but for a lot of people, I think they will be familiar enough terms and ideas that it might help to get the point that I'm trying to make across in those situations. And it's entirely possible that my magic analogies might be outdated, because I haven't played Magic for about 7 years now, which is very sad to me. I miss playing Magic with my friends and going and competing, but I just don't have the money for it or the time. Nor do I have the friend base that I had back in. I'm from Michigan originally, and I don't have the friend base that plays it regularly like I did up there. So part of that is by choice, and part of that is lack of time and money. I think we better. Oh no! I've got some space yet.
Stop for a minute.
Yeah, I've got some space yet before I have to care about this. All right, so we're gonna hop in here real quick and get this. What am I doing for time? Yeah, we got a little bit left. Got about 10 minutes. So this encounter is a good opportunity for me to illustrate a strategy that's going to be very important later on down the road, called pulling a monster. Basically what it is we've talked about preemptive strikes and how if you can run into a monster or an enemy without them noticing you, then you will earn a free, basically it like boosts their chain gauge up to whatever it takes to stagger them, and 1 or 2 attacks will push them over the edge and automatically stagger them. So it's going to be a very, very useful strategy down the road for accomplishing that goal very quickly on monsters that would normally take a lot longer. Specifically behemoths, because it's very easy to predict where their range of vision is. So I'm going to illustrate it right now. What I want is for him to notice me. Notice me? Good grief. Alright, and then what's going to happen is he's going to charge at me, and I'm going to run out of his range. So once the HUD, the map up top, turns blue, it means I'm outside of his range. So he's going to ignore me even though I'm standing right in front of him. And if you pull him towards the edge of his range, he will turn around and go back to where he should have been in the rotation of his normal walking. So with behemoths, the goal for pulling is to get them to notice you and pull them to the edge of their range, and then let them turn around and start walking away. And then as long as you're directly behind them, they won't notice you. If you're even off to a slight angle, like if you're coming at him from behind one of the paws and go angle in at him, he will notice you. He will turn around again, and you're probably going to get smacked starting the battle. And so... So that's, especially with behemoths, that's pulling is a very useful technique in earning that preemptive strike, because they all have very high stagger points, and some of them are virtually, it's not even worth trying to get them to stagger, because by the time you get them to that stagger point, they're going to be basically dead. Or they're going to have healed themselves, and you're going to have to start over anyway. Alright, so this is one of those mixed unit fights where we have one single human unit that I've already taken out, and some of these drones. So it's a decent opportunity for me to talk about targeting tactics. We've already talked about the tactics for targeting, like groups of humans. You know, when we were talking about the melee versus ranged units, and how you would typically want to target the ranged units first, because they have either like their attacks will like stagger you, not stagger as in the staggering that we do to enemies, but they'll interrupt your attacks if you're in the middle of something, or they'll have like beneficial effects on their allies. But in a group like this, where we have that one ranged attack and 3 like potentially high damage dealers, the ranged human unit in this case, again, it still has those same effects. In this case, it probably would have only been like hindering our attacks if we get hit while he's doing it. But I don't think I'm missing anything here. One second, I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, good. But the thing is, it also has much lower health than those other than the drones that we were fighting. Which was also true when we were talking about the mixed human groups too. But that makes it an even more prime target to take down quickly, and then you can focus on the larger threat. Sometimes you're going to want to do it in the opposite order, but for the most part, I went around too far. I should have had a preemptive strike there. Oh well. This is another good example because we have this Myrmidon class mech that does a lot of damage in a hurry. I mean, you can see Vanille's already almost dead from just 3 of its attacks. I think she just died. No, I guess not. But, you know, this thing can do damage in a hurry. So to leave the smaller units up there where they're just going to be piling on, whether it be in effects or hindering our attacks or whatever, would be strategically unwise. Which is why one of the reasons that I think that this combat system has gotten such a bad rap unnecessarily, because there is a lot of strategy to these battles. Again, because of the fact that the developers expect you to go all out in basically every battle. There is usually a significant threat until you get into probably late chapter 11, and even then, if you are underdeveloped, or even at the average recommended development, you're gonna see a lot of potential deaths just because to random enemies, or again, I use random enemies to mean these kinds of encounters that, yes, they're on the map, you see them, they're not random, but they're the equivalent of random encounters in previous games. Basic enemies, non-boss enemies. I like to think of them as minions, because they're not significant enough to be called bosses. Anyway, there's enough threat, even like very late in the game, to all but the most overdeveloped party, that it makes battles very strategic. I mean, you get to a point in games like, 7 and 8 where you're just going in there and holding down the attack button and it's over. Like, one round you're killing everything. But in this game, every battle, if it's done properly, involves some strategy and some thinking about what you're going to face. Again, unless you're super overdeveloped, which is possible late in the game. And even then, some of the boss battles could be strategically challenging because they're designed to be. They know you're capable of it, but they also know what the average player is going to do. So, let's see. Where are we? I think we're probably about time to... Yeah. So the next save point I get to, I will end the episode. Let's see. There's one coming up right here in a second. We're going to get this. And then there's going to be a save point coming up right at the top of these stairs. And then we're going to call it an episode. Save. I'll put it in, which is the one that oh, okay. Oh yeah, I forgot that I haven't created a... Alright. Do that. I forgot that this was the first series that I started doing, so I was only using one save file, which was a bad idea.
It looks like we can get through here.
Yeah, we're not going there right now. So anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you, if you were not already a 13 fan, that you've learned a little bit more about the series, or about the game. Thank you for watching. Hit like and share this with your friends, and subscribe to my channel. Like I said, I am working on gaining some raw footage for this game. One of the first bonus content that I might do on the weekend is probably going to be related to this game. I'm also working on a video of like the top, I don't know how many yet, but 7 or 10 ways that gamers are ruining the video game industry. So that's going to be very interesting, or at least it is to me. I hope it'll be enlightening to some of you. Thank you very much, and have a good day.